No! John just showed he's the biggest Morgan Wallen fan in the world by saying the name of his new song. Why can't I say it? In brackets, I'm saying it.
Let me say this about Morgan Wallen. I said this to Dylan before we started, but I'll say it again. If feminism was Batman, this man is the Joker. It is everything. Yeah, I do music, but I didn't do it as a kid because I played sports, and sports is cool. Is literally his answer, and I'm just like, this guy, you can't kill him. Like, it's like, people are like, well, okay, for those of you who don't know who Morgan Wallen is, he's the only person I've ever heard of from The Voice who is famous. Dylan, did you know that's where he came from?
I only learned that afterwards. Can you turn your mic down, like, into the middle? Because you're just redlining a bit. You can't? Okay, well, talk away from it then, I guess.
I'm going to talk. What about now? Is that better? I'm away from it.
Great. That's great.
Great.
But yes, he's from The Voice. He's my favorite thing where he started out on The Voice and has all this commercial success, but then gets a new haircut, and everyone's like, whoa, organic. It's just all he did was get a mullet, and everyone was like, fucking nice.
Here's a little behind the scenes. Dylan was late because he was getting haircuts with his brother-in-law. So I did more research on Morgan Wallen than I'm really prepared to do. It wasn't just the haircut. The haircut has later been retconned. What it was he did a bunch of pop songs on The Voice, and then for his last song, he says he got to choose, which I mean is the producers were like, you're from Tennessee? Do a fucking country song. Jesus fucking Christ, make us some fucking money. We're The Voice. We're the Dr. Pepper of singing reality shows. We need some fucking help, you fuck.
We need help. Yeah, well, who is it? My favorite thing. No, go for it.
So he sang that country song, and it got more interaction than any other song on The Voice that season. And then he was immediately eliminated. And in my head, Morgan Wallen went, it's 2016. I know how this election's going to go, and I'm going to capitalize. Get me a monster truck. I'm going to run over a cat's sanctuary with it.
Didn't he get dropped by his label or something?
There's like a whole bunch of things. So he tried to form different bands. It's that classic thing where it's like, you know, he's a totally organic star who had the backing of a variety of high-level industry insiders and more than one chance to make it.
I fucking love... Here's what I like about Morgan Wallen is it is the story of, like, you know, 80s movies where it's like, well, that drama kid, he ended up as a bigwig in Hollywood. And the guy who was on the leader of the baseball team, he hurt his knee and now he's a fucking pillhead and his wife's a bitch and his whole family's fucking shitty. But it's like, oh yeah, the guy who was the best player on the baseball team hurt his knee, turns out very good at singing and then succeeded. My favorite thing is, and I don't know, I didn't do research about like who he was in high school, but like in my mind he like called the drama kids pussies, and then he was like, actually I'm super good at this and it's easy. And then they're struggling. They're still struggling, and they're like, I finally got my first big part. And then they look on TV, and oh, that guy who called me gay for 4 years is the biggest country musician in the world.
Let me explain to you how much I know Morgan Wallen was a piece of shit in high school. He was the star pitcher and the number one home run hitter of his high school baseball team in Tennessee.
Cool, man.
That guy guaranteed could have and probably did do a school shooting, and the principal was like, well, they deserved it.
I like that, and his father is a pastor, and his mom very much into Christian rock. And
his manager. And his low-key manager, she's the one who signed him up for The Voice. She's the one that's, like, backing a bunch of his business endeavors. So, like, everyone's like, you know, he's such a badass. It's so organic. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. His mom, who I guarantee, like, turned Morgan Wallen's father from some sort of, like, he's not a pedophile yet, but he's building up confidence, to a pastor. And then she saw her son, who was like, I just keep having this dream on January 6th that we like kill Joe Biden, and it's like 2014, and she's like, you're going to be big in country music.
Yeah, well, I guess stay away from your politics because you don't want to divide the people that enjoy your music. But there's no way that a couple hardcore Christians from Tennessee are like, you know what? I think that a woman should have the right to choose.
Yeah, they should have the right to choose which one of our son's songs they're listening to. The best one or the second best one? That's the only...
Which song you get to listen to while you don't get it removed?
Something that I just remembered I overheard at a Motorhead show in 2004 just shouted in the silence, I'm pro-choice. You can choose my dick or my balls.
That's good stuff. My
No.
favorite thing was Lemmy in between sets yelling, Canadian cigarettes fucking suck. Flicked
Oh
it at
my
a
God.
guy. And the guy was like, my hair. And then they started playing.
My favorite was he hated the sound man at our concert, so he kept just turning up his amp to the point that you could not discern music. There were two people playing music, and then there was just a man that I, based on what I know now, was clearly on the spectrum doing what he thought was a protest.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Lemmy, and then Lemmy heroically messed with a guy who was for sure on the spectrum, and his whole life is how this thing sounds. And he's like, I'm drunk, and I'm from England, loud.
I hate that I'm this guy. He's from Wales. Apologize.
He's he's pretty thin actually.
End the fucking show. End the fucking show right now. We're never doing another episode. We're not fucking beating that show. Holy fucking shit, man. Fuck me. Fuck my asshole.
I think Morgan Wallen's main problem as a man who learned about his music 2 days ago is that he gets small town drunk in 2024 and people have phones now.
I was like, when I saw the TMZ clip of him dropping the hard N with the hard R, I was like, I got news for you.
Wasn't
I got
it
like
R? I thought it was like a one of those joking. I thought it was like we're professional wrestling fans and a man who everyone saw as a Morgan Wallen type character, but now views as everyone's like fun uncle, Randy Orton, dropped the N-word in COVID, and everyone was like, Randy Orton dropped the N-word, and everyone's like, yeah, there's so much more that he's done, and we've decided this is fine. Like,
this is the thing is, I don't see that as like, oh, that's a turning point in Morgan Wallen's career. That's the starter's pistol firing for his various appearances on celebrity news-based websites. Like, I watched as soon as I saw a driveway, I was like, I know exactly everything that happened here. They got drunk a place where they know the bartender, which means it's 4 a.m, and they were going to try and get some sort of food, but one of the guys either refused to drink and drive or insisted on maybe going home to his girlfriend at some point, or mentioned something that Morgan Wallen did not like, and then they're walking up a driveway. There's fun banter, and then suddenly just, I've had 8 bourbons. Time to take this to a place which is so unnecessary. Oh, you flicked my ear? I nuke your fucking family.
well, no, he says it like he's like, let's go get some drinks, man. Like, so I think it's literally
in response
like
to what someone else says. So someone else goes like, "You're a da 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 beep," and he's like, "Oh yeah, well beep."
well, fuck my career. But it really isn't like it doesn't fuck his career. I was thinking like he got dropped by his label. I guess maybe, probably not.
But you know
They
how
probably
good it
were
is
like,
to be dropped by a label? Let me ask you, like, I'm self-producing some YouTube specials, and I've looked at some unknown comedians recording contracts, and they're all just like, we gotta have money though, because like we're a whole business, and this is all ending. It's all ending. And that's what I think the record labels are not like in the 70s where it's like a guy in all white getting blown by his secretary. Put a fucking synth in it or I'll fucking kill your family. Like now it's literally
synth works. Kind of like your mom sucking my dick. Say hi, Mrs. Wallen.
Mrs. Wallen sucked my dick and now I'm Jesus. And now like a record label guy is like, it's just like some like like, you know, you have that family member that you're always like, you're too passive for your age. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just go along with whatever. I mean,
yeah, a passive 52-year-old man where you're like, whoa.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm down for whatever. And you just meet their partner and you're always like, I see why you're down for whatever. Is that you don't want to just engage with this person you inadvertently agreed with sometime in the past.
Yeah, you said yes 20 years ago and now saying no would be a whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. You're not really aware the steps of what a divorce would entail, but you feel that that's more difficult than just never ever speaking your mind for decades.
Which is like the most cliche. It's like it's funny. It's good now that I've seen this a couple things on TikTok where it's like it's called like boomer comedy, but it is just like, well, the wife's always right, and I get the sweet release of death at 63.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It turns out My kids figured out that marrying in your 30s and 40s mean that you've made enough mistakes to understand your partner. I'm not into mistakes. I'm into making one decision and then slowly torturing that woman with my behavior.
No. So, yes, he's on The Voice. He has beautiful hair. Then he has a mullet, which is also beautiful.
Also, I'm going to say this right now. I don't care for these short manicured mullets. I am from Canada.
Oh, he had a long mullet. He has like a long, dirty, disgusting mullet.
It's the mullet of a correspondent of Vice magazine. It's not the mullet I want, which is big and feathered. You know what I mean? We call that the Westboro where I'm from. You know what I mean? Oh, this dad is heading down to the rink to play hockey with his kids, and they don't know that it's full contact.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of the thing... he's still a musician who's handsome. So he's going to have a handsome person's mullet. He's not going to have, like, a mullet. Have you ever... Like, there was another guy I know who his whole... Like, he was very handsome and he hated himself, and now he's got what he wanted and he's ugly. But, like, he would have done way better in his chosen profession if he would have just been handsome.
Dylan is talking about himself there, by the way.
He's talking to me.
Yeah,
I'm talking about me in 3 years because I'm still home.
Yeah, he's still handsome. I was about to correct you. I was like, you have not ruined it. If anything, you've enhanced it.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm going to get a mullet like my dad. This is his story. I'm going to get a mullet like my dad did, when in reality it's probably like Jessica Simpson's dad, which I assume is the same thing. It's like a pastor who also, which, I mean, it is funny. I don't know why, but I always thought pastors were automatically good people. And then I'm like, why? Why did I fucking believe that?
I worked at a Christian camp. Here's my number one rule. If you're because here's the thing with being a pastor. Being a pastor is like, being a pastor is like being a comedian. If you can just find someone else to say that you are one, you are one. Like there's no vetting board. You know what I mean? So that's what I say is when someone is a former pastor or someone's like, I've been a pastor for 40 years and then they're just in a t-shirt, you're like, oh God. I used to work at a sports radio station in Ottawa. And there was a guy there who was a pastor and he did a late night show, some nights about religion, some nights about politics. And that guy was the most I do cocaine in the car to pick up my kids vibe I've ever met in my entire life. Mooned. I was a 16-year-old man and he just mooned both radio studios on the first day and I was then asked the producers, like, is that a welcome? And they were like, no, he just does that sometimes. It's like, yeah, all right, that man's supposedly a man of God. Oh, checked on him in COVID. One of the earliest COVID is a hoax people I've ever seen. We're talking a April 2020. This is all bullshit, which I gotta say, that's a vibe.
Well, I think that if I was really down with Jesus, I would also say it was a hoax because it's like, no, this is what God's work is. And either maybe I'd become one of those God did science people, but I'd probably just be like, nope, science is a lie. It's like Carl Everett of the Boston Red Sox said that dinosaurs' bones were planted to test Christians, and everyone who believes in dinosaurs and is a Christian is a liar and a fake. And that's what I would be.
I've been meaning to say this to you, which is if you notice that anyone who was accrued in baseball during the first era of the Moneyball statistical analysis has just turned out to be a fucking maniac. Like, you look at that 2004 Boston Red Sox team, and it's literally like, all right, we got a guy who embezzled 2 different video game companies. We got a guy who I think has done so many steroids he thinks he's the moon. He's still tweeting. 4 of them do not believe in dinosaurs. 1 of them is a flat earther. And 3 of them just told me I purchased my wife on what they said was the internet, and then they showed me a typewriter.
What was it? So getting back to Morgan Wallen, it'd be a good interview. Like, it'd be nice to interview him and just be like, so you've gotten your dick sucked for athletics and for music. Which one's better? And then him give an earnest answer before he catches himself and be like, oh, that was a joke question.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say art's better because here's the thing with sports in Tennessee in high school. Sports in Tennessee in high school, you're getting...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's better to have sex with above-age women than high school girls.
Well... Then you asked to do the comparison. Let me say this, because I guarantee they're all like, I'm going to be Mrs. Wallen. And I guarantee someone now is like, yeah, I just fucking gave a squeezer to Morgan Wallen in the back of a fucking cyber truck, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his stories have got to be fucking
no-nos. Kanye's fucking cyber truck that just looks like he's looks like a mouse that you can drive.
So I have a couple of theories based off of the fact that I did full 2 hours of a deep dive on Morgan Wallen. Here is number one. Everything Kid Rock is doing is because Kid Rock is just a businessman and has identified that Morgan Wallen is doing what he did 20 years ago and now, but in a better way, because Morgan Wallen's band is also a metal band. So what Morgan Wallen did was he went through all these different iterations of the musicians organically, and then he finally was like, wait, I was on The Voice, and my dad's a pastor, so I somehow have access to $18 billion. I'm just going to hire the best band in Nashville. And that's what he did. He literally went, I'll just go get the 5 best guys at the things they do, and then just be like, you're a country band now. And they were like, yeah, sure. We're also a metal band, so we'll open for you. And then he's figured out, oh, if I just go for the dudes that are like, you know what's cool? Not apologizing. That is everything that they're looking for. The hip hop of those people is country music, and the mainstream pop music of those people is metal. And how do I know? Because besides my politics, I am one of these people. I want to go to a Morgan Wallen show. I'm just not prepared to see that many weird versions of the Confederate flag.
I don't like ballads. That's my main problem with country music.
So
I really hate ballads.
I remember you told me this on a car ride once, and it's fascinating. You're like, I want
don't
the song.
like ballads.
It's fascinating. Even just every once in a while, you know what I mean?
No, I like Slayer because their ballads are they're like, oh, I'm in hell and soon I'm gonna fucking kill everyone in hell because I'm the fucking best. It's not like my friend died and I'm sad. Move over, buddy. Everyone is sad. Everyone has friends that died. Shut up. Shut up and get over it. Stop crying. You're embarrassing your family. That would be my country song. Keep it inside. Keep it inside. Go to the lake and keep it inside. If you're gonna cry, do it in the shower so no one can really notice. In Tennessee. That's okay.
You know, you've just invented a real Eagles song called Get Over It, which is literally like, complaining on your phones and no one's someone who isn't white. Get over it. Kabee! It's literally
Is
just
that a Joe Walsh original?
Absolutely not. Joe Walsh is a star. That's a Glenn Fry, Don Henley. Joe Walsh, the other thing say is about Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh is the conservative one, right?
Joe Walsh, say that again and just cut out for 1 second.
Joe Walsh is the conservative one.
No, Joe Walsh is just the one that partied so hard and lost 8 fortunes. And now they're like, if you're just staying the Eagles, you'll just have millions of dollars. And he's like, that's cool. I'll do that.
Well, Morgan Wallen is still
Don Henley is the conservative one. If you're a singing drummer, you're fucked.
All right. I'm going to look this up quick, but I'm pretty sure if you're a singing drummer, Neil Peart created the Proud Boys.
Neil Peart, he did not create the Proud Boys because I love him, but he was so into libertarianism. They have 3 different concept albums that are about how libertarianism is cool.
Today's Tom Sawyer believes that roads
That's
should
one of the
not
songs.
taxes.
That's one. Have you listened to the lyrics of it? Today's Tom Sawyer believes that the government is bad and it's controlled by a cabal that's somewhere else in the world that's beep.
Oh, yeah. So Joe Walsh.
Yo.
So Joe Walsh is not conservative. He was identified as a moderate Republican, which for 70s musicians made him a fucking Trumpist. And then he was lumped in with all the Trump people, but he's still a moderate Republican. So he's one of those Republicans who does not like Donald Trump.
I also know too much about Joe Walsh. His main reason for being a Republican is also his dad was if there was 10 guys that formed the Air Force, Joe Walsh's dad was number 4. So he has just such a love of the military that I assume he would support the Republican Party over the Democrats. Yeah, I know way too much about certain aspects of classic rock. I don't really know what the economy is.
I mean, it's more fun to know about things that don't directly affect your life because then you don't have to worry about them.
That's right. Well, Joe Walsh directly affects my life pretty substantially because he is my neighbor and I make him sing his songs to me. Joe! Rocky Mountain Way. Joe. Funk 48. Not as popular, but much better than Funk 49.
There's another thing. This is just for notice for future. It's so funny how we've been doing shows like this for a while. So how researching things has changed, where it was Wikipedia and then branching out, and you have to read a lot of articles, and now it's like everyone kind of does something like this where they do like a shitty biography of someone, but there's so much fucking AI, Chat GPT biographies of Morgan Wallen on YouTube that are wrong about so many things. It's great.
Oh, yeah. It's also really great in that you can tell when they were created and which news story they were generated from, because the main fallout and problem in Morgan Wallen's life now is the night of the CMT Awards, he hucked a chair off of a rooftop bar towards a street and it missed a woman by like 4 inches, apparently. I don't believe that, by the way. But yeah, it like hit a woman. It almost hit a woman. His apology, by the way, was we were roughhousing whoopsie doopsie, and everyone was like, he's a roughhouser. And as a result,
well, it's also country music. It's like that kind of shit. Like that kind of shit is like, oh, you don't have. It's like in rap where it's like even guys like Drake. Like Drake is just like a guy who sings, but he still has to have lyrics about like, I know gangsters who do all the pushing of people, and then Morgan Wallen, same thing. It's like, you're going to be a country musician? Okay, you have to wear a cowboy hat and get arrested for a weird crime. Like, yeah, I was trying to sell cigarettes inside a Wendy's. That's why I went to jail. You're like, all right, you're like George Strait.
Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. You're telling me I can't bootleg my own albums and sell them to me?
I had a stand at a flea market, and I kicked over someone else's stand. They weren't selling good enough VHS of me taking the shit.
I've been selling T-shirts of me on The Voice to my mom.
Yeah, exactly.
As a result, by the way, of him throwing that chair off the roof, he's no longer allowed to have a big giant neon sign in front of his bar that he just opened called Morgan Wallen This Bar. So basically, for those of you that don't follow country music or aren't a giant loser like me, you won't know that. So like Austin has become like comedy fucking city, baby. And Nashville has become music city in that like a shitload of musicians are taking deals from restaurant operators to open branded bars along Broadway and a few other like specific streets, because these are places where like you would like 10 years ago, if you wanted to see the next future of country music, you could go to a few specific bars there and see like the best music ever. And then because life sucks, everyone's like, all right, instead of allowing this organic thing to continue, Kid Rock, buy a bar and I want you to just play Bow Da Da Bow Wow Wah the entire time. He's like, you had me at Bow Da Da Bow Wow Wah.
It's Ba Wada Ba, you fucking worm.
No, it's not. He changed it. It's a remix.
Oh, he changed it in retrospect?
Yeah.
Here's my only problem with Kid Rock, and that includes his politics, is that one song he wrote, he didn't write it. It's just a sample of Sweet Home Alabama, but he used the loophole of like, yeah, I was a rapper, so it's a sample, but he didn't rap, he just sung it. Makes me want to fucking throw a table through a fucking glass window.
The lyrics of that song are also fucking mad. Like
Sweet Home Alabama. Also, I remember I worked at a coffee shop when that was like a popular song, and they would play it all the time, and I would like manually click it. I'd be like, just do fucking. How about a jazz cover of what was it? It was like these. It was like this station that was like an unknown jazz person covering like a Norah Jones song. So it's like they didn't have to give Norah Jones money. Since it was a cover, it was so good.
Why is someone playing Kid Rock at a second cup on St. Clair in 2009?
Because he's Easy Rock.
Fuck, he is. That's
he's
right.
An Easy Rock. He's Kid Easy Rock.
He is Kid Easy Rock, because this is after, and I'm going to say this, as you may or may not know this, like, I like Sheryl Crow a lot. And so you know what? You know it's a fucking banger? And Dylan's going to hate it because it is the most ballady of ballads. That's Picture by Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock. I'll put it on. I'll put that fucking song on by choice, and I will listen to it, and I will enjoy it.
Our football coach would make us listen to Kid Rock's Cocky, and he would do us the service of clicking past Picture. And I was like, hell yeah. He was like, we're not listening to that fucking gay shit while we work out. That's for after we work out. I was like, okay. So he wanted us to sit and listen to Picture and reflect on, I don't know. And also, like, man, I fucking hate that song. You really triggered a whole, like, Cocky off that album was good, but he really jumped ship. And like you said, Kid Rock is just a businessman. He really jumped ship on nu metal at like the exact time. I would believe that Kid Rock told Uncle Kracker to make an Easy Rock album, and then it worked out, and he just took all Uncle Kracker's shit. I wonder what that guy's up to now. Anyway,
I guarantee you're 100% correct. I guarantee, like it's.
Yeah.
I read
you saw
the
Uncle
recent
Kracker had the fucking. Sorry, go for it. My apologies.
the recent Kid Rock Rolling Stone article where they're just like Rolling Stone went and hung out with Kid Rock, and Kid Rock put a gun in the reporter's face and was just like. Here's the thing that's happening is people from the coasts are meeting the people we grew up with, which is not country fucking scum. Suburban scum, which is the worst because they got a weird chip on their shoulder and they've got funding. I'll never be my dad. I somehow have more money than him, but he was the head of the Chamber of Commerce and he was part of the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah, I just want to be a thing and I'll never be it. So here's my weird thing I'm trying right now. In 5 years, I'm going to be a 60-year-old emo guy.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing that everyone thinks is cool. A guy in his 50s dressed like a flag.
Well, it's also like a guy who listened to one Waylon Jennings song and saw one interview and was like, I'm that. And you're like, well, you didn't listen to the other things where he's pretty reflective and his entire team was women and really he's trapped in alcoholism. He doesn't aspire to it. Like, no, I know. I want to be that. I don't know. It's fucking infuriating.
You've absolutely nailed it. And the example of Waylon Jennings is the best one because Waylon Jennings is like writing these very deep meta songs about how bad it is to be an outlaw. And everyone's like, it's cool to murder. And he was like, I went to jail. Do not do that. Do not go to jail. And they're like, we're going to jail, Waylon. He's like, I got to tell you, like, I feel like I shouldn't just make music anymore because you're not listening. All right, I'm just making songs about how I am dead, but before I did something. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what he did for the rest of his career.
There was a guy outside. This is just an example of like the weird small town suburban thing. There was a guy who did a stand-up show, and it was the guy's 45th birthday. Clearly, a bunch of people were hanging out with him. He doesn't usually hang out with again. Like those friends who like you think you're friends, but you're not. You know what I mean? They're there if the group is over 10, they're going to be there, but you would never hang out with them one-on-one. And the reason I could tell that was because after the show, the guy was like, come on, let's keep drinking. Like, he kept ordering shots. Let's keep drinking. What are you, fucking pussy? And then he went, no, I'm 45 and I have a family. And then the guy was like, you're fucking pussy. He's like, no. I have, and this is fucked up that he said that. He's like, I have love in my life, man. And then he just walked away. I was like, that guy is going to go drink alone. I mean, that could be the last time anyone talked to that guy. Because that's something you can say to a comedian and then they bury it in their head and then wait until you're in another social situation and try and get you back. But like saying that to a normal person, that's fucked up. Either that or he's too drunk to know what's going on and it's all good.
It could also be both. Like he's just going to do that thing where he just wakes up knowing he doesn't like you now, but he doesn't know why.
Oh, yeah, when you get so drunk, you're like a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're like, why am I angry when that happens? I'll never find out.
Yeah, and nor do I want to know. I'm
just open to influence at this time.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Morgan Wallen does a collab with Lil Durk. So that's good. Anything where it's like, Morgan Wallen, is he racist? It'll be like he did a collab with Lil Durk. Now, I don't know. I don't
There's
think...
a couple... I just want to say there's a couple of articles that say he did a collab with Post Malone, which makes me really laugh. Where it's like, I don't know if that's going to help, actually.
Post Malone is the new Kid Rock. I think Post Malone's a better person than Kid Rock.
I think Post Malone's a much better person, but I think when they're like, he knows a white guy that raps, no racist guy knows a white guy that raps. And it's like, that is 1990s thinking, my friend. It is 2024. Pretty much every white guy who raps is going to really take a left turn thanks to Trump.
Well, I mean, Post Malone and Jelly Roll are really just like, you can just totally see. It's like, oh, if you're a white guy with face tattoos, you can just be a country guy now. Or also, if you're Lil Nas X and you're like, I'm gay, but I like country, it's like, stick to rap, motherfucker.
I disagree. Lil Nas X rules. I can say this. Jelly Roll fucking... Lil Nas X rules. Jelly Roll fucking rules. I don't really like Post Malone's music, but I really like it when he appears on podcasts. I find his energy very soothing.
Oh, man. I listened to one with him, a podcast with him and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's pretty impressive when you can scare a wrestler with your alcoholism, because he was like, yeah, really, I don't ever see the sun. I wake up at 5 p.m. and I go to bed at 7 a.m. And Stone Cold's like, well, goddamn, son, that's sad. If you If you need an intervention, give me a hell yeah.
Yeah, here's what you got to do, son. You got to have 8 beers at the gym. Steve Austin is really shown, by the way, that like Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin were the same level of fame for doing the same thing. And my God, does personality really come into effect in your later years? Like Hulk Hogan is literally like, I'm not a liar. Oh, by the way, I invented gravity, brother. And Steve Austin's just like, this is my cat. I regret every decision I made in my adult life, and I apologize. And you're like,
Well, it's also like very important to have genuine interests. And if you're looking at those two men, you can see that Hulk Hogan doesn't know what an interest is. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, like when he had, this is getting pretty inside here, but after pro wrestling, he started doing a podcast, and it was truly Stone Cold Steve Austin, the journalist.
yeah,
It's like him just becoming an interviewer. Like he must have like, oh yeah, there's 3 things I like: whipping ass, drinking beers, Charlie Rose.
yeah. Give me a hell yeah if you like inquisitive questions from someone that's actually trying to listen. Hell yeah.
Yeah, everybody shut up. It's Dan Rather, you know.
I mean, he did a podcast reflecting on the fact he probably shouldn't have gotten drunk with Ric Flair before Ric Flair went out on that video game panel that resulted in Jim Ross getting fired. And it's one of the most just like, I guess my friend's a bit more fucked up than I thought vibes I've ever heard in my life. We're saying,
Oh, yeah.
Goddamn, son. Yeah. Whoopsie doopsie, as this old Stone Cold says.
Well, that's the interesting thing about Morgie Dub is that he kind of is in this thing now where all his fans are suburban and rural shitheads and or identify as rural shitheads.
Yeah, that's
And
the other.
they
That's the
need
main
him-
constituency.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
need him to still be a shithead because it validates their own behavior.
It's a very good point. I think, luckily for them, I think he is, to paraphrase the movie Deadwood, Morgan Wallen is their Huckleberry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
I don't think that.
Just the movie, not the show?
Pardon me, Tombstone was the movie I was referencing, not Deadwood. 1,000 apologies. I will go and put a gun in my mouth.
Okay, sick.
what
So
I
can
mean-
you hang yourself in that hotel room, please?
Yeah, I'm going to do what the guy from In Excess did and leave this earth shamefully.
Oh, good. You're going to jack off? Might commit suicide.
course.
Might as well try and get a nut in.
That's exactly right. You got to let the paramedics know you got a big dick.
There you go.
Yo.
That's good
What's
stuff.
your dick like? I'm dead. This is my dick.
Yeah, I'm going to super glue a big dildo to my dick.
Imagine you kill yourself and your suicide is, yo, paramedic, dispute my dick.
That's good.
I mean, I feel like the paramedic would never forget your penis. Like, he'd be like, that's the thing I just think about every day now. Fuck.
Well, I would I would pay a second to be there while I committed suicide to make me suck my dead body suck my own dick. So the paramedics find me and they think I died of sucking my own dick somehow.
I mean, that would be pretty amazing. What I would also like you to write a note that just said died as he lived.
Nutted. Then you have to put some of your
Nutting.
nut in my mouth. That would be a part of the seconds thing. So they think I just
Whose
died.
nut? Wait, my nut in your mouth? But I'm
No,
also
I will
dead in the
hire
hotel
someone
room?
off Fiverr and then be like, quick thing, I'm going to kill myself. Okay, doors
yeah.
are locked. You can't leave. Second
Yeah,
thing,
okay.
when I die, you got to make it so I'm sucking my own dick. Then you got a nut in my mouth, in my
Yeah,
dead mouth.
but-
You have to nut in my dead mouth and make me suck my own dick.
Because
This is
they're not
about
going to
Morgan
be able
Wallen
to figure
still.
out where that load came from. They're going to be like, wait a minute, this guy sucked his own dick so well, he created a different person's load?
Yeah, I guess that does implicate the person I hired off Fiverr, but I'm willing
Certainly.
for them to go to jail.
Yeah,
No, I didn't kill him. I just moved his body afterwards. Look at the text he sent me.
Yeah, listen, he hired me to do some graphic design and said, do you want to make a little extra? And I did, and here I am.
Yeah, and then
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to offend your woke sensibilities, officers of the law. This is art. Death art.
oh yeah, and then I'll have a treasure map with me, and then
Yeah, and it just
like-
leads...
and it leads to
But the
it leads
treasure-
to a
hang
big
on.
box that's 6 feet under the ground and a picture of me sucking my own dick again.
I was going to say, I think the treasure map should just lead to your own asshole. Yeah, that's what
No,
the
I was
treasure is.
thinking about the logistics of that, but yeah, just a big box with a picture of me sucking my own dick.
That's very fun.
And
I mean, if you pull that off...
Wallen's there. Segue.
Yeah, and then Morgan Wallen plays one of his hits. That's my flag.
Morgan Wallen's there.
Morgan Wallen plays his new song, which is "Get Out of This State." Yeah, that's right. I'm not even a nationalist. I just believe in Tennessee.
This is interesting, before he even has a real fucking album, Morgie Wall does what rappers do and releases a full single this is the thing where it's like he was an industry fucking, they didn't want him in country music, but he did release a song with Florida Georgia Line, one of the biggest country stars at the time. But then they didn't want him. But you're right, it's exactly what they said. Like, he does the thing on The Voice. You would see this with reality shows all the time where it's like, okay, winning this thing won't do anything for me because I'm going to be big within a subgenre, so I need to like get kicked off this big show for being too fucking real.
Yeah, that's the thing but it's also everything he does is like it's made to look like this organic reaction, and then you do 3 steps and you're like, oh, that's why he did it. Why did he throw the chair off that guy's roof? His own bar is opening in 2 weeks. They need to have press for it. Oh, we don't want to publicize him by not giving him a sign. Well, I guess you guys don't know how the world works because you literally just basically were like, who wants some free advertising? Like, I think he's a much more calculated guy in that he's just a jock who's gone into the arts, which means he has no qualms about doing something just to win. That's a problem with a lot of people in the creative industries is they're like, well, I shouldn't do that. It's a bit hack. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any scruples. He's literally like, call the song. 49% of you aren't going to like me anyway, and so fuck you.
Yeah.
And then let's fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and then like I said, not directly saying anything so that if you are just like a, person from the city who loves your schmoopy cat, then you can also like his stuff just like if you're, a guy who has an F-150 and fucking rips up and down the streets in the city. Anyway.
I fucking hope. You mean me, right?
I do. What was I going to say? It was going to be something hot, sexy, and tempting.
What's very interesting, though, is Morgan Wallen is also getting this sort of weird treatment that sort of started with Taylor Swift's fans. And now musicians and people that might have dated him in the past, they're getting hate. Like, how could you have dated this guy? And it's like, bro, he played baseball and he's good at guitar. Do you not know anything about sex? Like, that person's going to get fucked.
Have you ever seen a guy rock a 400-foot bomb and then instead of running the bases, he drops a guitar and writes a song about you? That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking, like, I'd be like, give that guy the keys to my house. Why? But I don't know. That song's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah. You know how sick it would be if Morgan Wallen went up to bat with a guitar, smashed it, and then still just sung a song a cappella? That would be like, yeah, man, you wrote a bunch of slurs.
This is the entire reason why I'm not a baseball scout. For whatever team I would be scouting for, as soon as I saw that, I'd be like, I don't know what the budget is, but give it to that guy.
It's so crazy that it is good, and it shows a lot about him as resiliency, that you fuck your arm up and you're like, man, I thought I was going to be I thought he was going to be a fucking major league baseball player. No, I'm going to be a musician. This is easy. My life is easy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I was going to be the John Rocker of baseball. Now I'm going to be the John Rocker of rock and roll.
But this is where we are, is that we talked about Iggy Pop a while ago on Patreon, and what got him known around was his crazy live shows where he'd like cut himself, he'd go into the fucking crowd, he'd climb the scaffolding and stuff. The thing
Fight
that
people,
really
cover himself in peanut butter.
The real thing that really put Morgan Wallen over the top, and the reason why I know who he is because he now does, before he goes on stage, he does UFC-style walkouts where they film him coming from the back, and he has celebrities meet him along the way, and they say hi to each other, and then he comes on stage.
I fucking love it. I love it.
I didn't think you were going to go love, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Which I was going to say, and this is one question I wanted to say. This is, if you've been to a lot of concerts, you know this. They do, like, every band has, like, an intro song.
Yeah.
So, was there any intro songs you've seen at a concert that are stupid or good or anything?
I mean, I saw Metallica in my hometown of Ottawa, and they played their intro song, and it was just everyone had seen them enough. They were like, "We're not like everyone." I could tell the entire crowd was like, "We're not cheering for this. Just come out."
Don't they sing
now."
that they play "Ecstasy of Gold," right?
They play all of Ecstasy of Gold, and it was just very funny.
10 minutes.
It's a 5 minute. Yeah. It's a 5 minute song, and everyone just sat there like, We'll cheer at the end, but fuck you. Like, it was. I was like, I really like this. Ozzy. I also saw Ozzy in Ottawa, the longest concert Ozzy ever played. It was almost 3 hours, and I had to shit the whole time. When I shit afterwards, the show, I had hallucinations of glee and joy, and the toilet was almost filled with brown mud. It was.
Waited that long to shit.
I was in the very front row and had no way to, like, I could, if I
Wow.
left, I'd lose my spot. So
I've never been a front row person. I'm always like, get me in the middle.
During the song Fire in the Sky, I genuinely thought I was going to throw up my own shit. That said, Ozzy's intro was they started playing a classic, and then he just ran out before it got to any sort of, I just went,
Fuck, I love that.
I love it. Like, just they're now doing a rewatch podcast of the Osbournes, and it is really fascinating because it's two millennial kids offending their baby boomer parents with the decisions their parents made for their own childhoods. Like, you see them at nightclubs, and Sharon's like, "Yeah, I'd do it again. I knew the owners of those nightclubs. If they got themselves in trouble, I'd get a call." And it's like, what do you let a 13-year-old go to where men are drinking and doing blow, and you're like, "Yeah, if Kelly does a bunch of blow, I will be told about it."
Yeah, well, it's almost like it'd be weird if if Ozzy Osbourne's kids weren't kind of weird.
Let me just say this about the MMA walkout for whatever the fuck.
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen. Who's Taylor Wallen? Anyway, it's this thing of like no one understands that because of how Dana White's positioning the UFC is now this sort of like the UFC is basically what a MAGA hat was 3 years ago. Like, no one's rocking a MAGA hat now, but if you see a guy in a lot of UFC merch, that's sending a message. You know what I'm saying? That is separate from any of those other brands. And so associating yourself like that is such a good message to the rest of your audience. It's also, there's a big premium right now in society of like, we're at that phase where it's not like grunge, like, teehee, you know, like, oh yeah, I know a couple of famous people. Like, now it's literally like, yo, this is Liberace's skull. It sucked me off. Because it's a skull, I pretended he was a girl, Morgan Wallen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're like, what the fuck is going, like, yo, like, it's the dress Monica Lewinsky was wearing when Bill Clinton jizzed. Morgan Wallen's taking his photo with it before he's getting on stage at the Grand Ole Opry. You know what I mean? Like, everything is made to enhance your celebrity and brand, and that is like what it is to be famous now. Like, time was, we'd be like, man, you know, get famous, sex, drugs, and rock and roll people, and now we're like, man, get famous, and the Speaker of the House and a Supreme Court justice will repost your ex.
Well, it makes sense for everybody, right? Because it's like everyone wants clicks, and then you get like, oh yeah, it was like, I think the latest one I saw was Morgan Wallen, and then Pat McAfee's there, and then Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers. So it's like that helps
so
all
funny.
three of them.
Pat McAfee is still my favorite of all of these new internet media figures. Just a kicker who is an ass. You know what I mean? Just the guy that definitely jumped naked into the shower and like punched one guy because he's like, hey, you didn't say my girlfriend's hot. He figured out how to monetize that, and I don't give a shit about sports, and I watched half an hour of it today.
Well, it is fun, like Harrison Butker, who is the kicker for the Chiefs, did a speech at a college and
He certainly did.
Yes, but Pat McAfee and Harrison Butker play the same position. Well, Pat McAfee's a punter, Harrison Butker is a kicker. It's a very lonely position. You come in, there's a ton of pressure on you, and even if you succeed, no one still views you as a football player. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like an interesting thing of like, okay, you're a kicker in the NFL. No one respects you no matter what. And if you fuck up, everyone fucking hates you. What do you do in that situation? And Pat McAfee chose the correct thing, which was, I'm going to be fun. Versus Harrison Butker's like, I guess, watched The Handmaid's Tale, and was like, why are they making the good guys out to be the bad guys?
Yeah, why are the bad guys the good? Why are the good guys the bad guys in this weird? Is this show from the Bizarro world? What
I guess this show's called Opposite Day.
Harrison Butker had that energy. It was the most energy of, and I grew up with these dudes, which is the energy they guaranteed brought to university, which is like, yo, I fingered 2 people in high school. I know a shitload about books.
I mean, I didn't hear the speech because, like, I think I knew You know what I mean? I mean, maybe I'll hear it and be like, listen, because wasn't it just like, hey, women, we should just get back in the
first
kitchen?
First of all, I'm going to say this: it's far more convincing when you hear it.
Oh,
when
good.
you read it, you're like, this guy's crazy. When you listen to it, and you're like, from the mouths of babes. No, it's fucking ridiculous. The most annoying part of it is he has that edgelord tone of voice, like, isn't it wild? A man named Harrison, is like, your name is Harrison Butker. If he had got up there and be like, I accept all people, I'm going to be like, do not listen to him. That's a ploy. His name is Butker. That's an evil man's name. No one has ever been purchased breakfast by someone with a hard K-E-R at the end of their name.
No
one has ever...
No walkers have ever...
Never once.
Never once. All the walkers in the world.
Name one time someone with the last name Walker helped you out. I'll wait. Walker, Texas Ranger does not count. That was his first name.
My childhood friend, who's getting first name, but his last name is Walker. He helps me out all the time.
I don't believe you.
Okay, you're saying no? Wow, real Harrison Butker over there in the dark room.
Whoa, true.
So anyway, this episode's
going dark.
This episode's now about how cool Harrison Butker is. But anyway, yeah, Morgan Wallen, he's gonna get bigger. At some point, he'll be a legend, and then we'll be slightly older than him and be like, "Whoa, I think that's a bit much."
Do you think that Harrison Butker shows up at a Trump event between now and the election? I say no.
I don't know. I don't know anything about what'll happen, and I'm truly
Morgan Wallen.
I think he's too smart for that. I think that
that's exactly
most of his fans, like, if something else happens, like the only way he would go full TRUMP would be is if like there's a fucking video of him beating a chick. Then he'll do it because he's like, well, I can't recover from this. I may as well go to the right wing fully, where they're like, yeah, I mean, he hit a chick, but what? You can't fucking smoke a chick in the face nowadays? What's it?
It's not like he's Diddy. It's not like he's a black guy that did it.
But yeah, it's not like he's Diddy. He didn't do that and be gay.
Yeah, he didn't do that, and also, can I just say this about?
Also, he didn't just be gay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you for apologizing, Gillen. If it turns out, by the way, that P. Diddy was behind the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G., are you not fucking entertained, everybody? Like,
dude, that is. I didn't even hear that.
In the world?
I didn't even hear that.
That's because you're raising a child and don't have the time to use the internet the way I do.
I heard that I was thinking about him and Vince McMahon talking, where I was like, man, P. Diddy and Vince McMahon would be like, this guy's a fucking loser, until they started talking about what they like to do when they have power, and then they'd be real good friends.
Do you understand that there is a distinct, not impossible possibility that they both end up in a minimum security prison together? They would have to be housed together because of the nature of their crimes.
That's fucking wicked. And then?
Do you understand the companies that would be spawned out of however long that jail term is?
Them just repeatedly saying they came up with a new company to a prison guard who was like, okay, guys.
Get this. It's Crystal Skull vodka, but it's just piss.
All right, I take a shit, and then you have to eat it. It's called rap music.
You did it, Diddy. I don't know how to do a Puff Daddy impression, but I will start calling him Puff Daddy again.
Oh, yeah, take that. We're going to go a couple names ago. Anyway, John, that's our Morgan Wallen episode, sprinkled in with some deviations about stuff we know more about. Do you like his music? I don't. It's all ballads, and admittedly, I don't think he needs me to be his fan. I don't think he's. We need balding suburban dads who look like they invented Reddit, and then once someone posted a recipe on there, they said, "You ruined my hate site."
I will go with the YouTube comment I read 2 hours ago while finding out who Morgan Wallen was. I come from when country music was country music. I'm talking Brooks and Dunn. This sounds like it's just Brooks, and I'm done. And I got to tell you, I don't know who that poet is. But they are.
That's a poet laureate.
They are a champion.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I assume that was Jesus Christ came down for one day to go, I finally have a YouTube comment idea worthy of my station.
This sounds like just Brooks. And I'm done. Did he put ... and I'm done?
I don't think he did. But I do remember how correct the punctuation on it. Like, if I had to guess the age of this person, we're talking late 50s, early 60s, a tucked-in shirt. You know what I mean? He's on a desktop computer in a part of the house that it's a multi-use. You know what I'm saying? It's also the dining room, but that's where Dad keeps his computer.
This was a couple of years ago. I don't know if this is about Morgan Wallen, but our good friend and Jeff McHenry retweeted someone who just wrote, "You don't wear skinny jeans if you're in country music." So then that has nothing to do with anything. Well, I'm like, pretty sure at some point those were just jeans back then. But anyway,
They're just jeans.
they're just jeans.
It's also, can I just say this? I'm a slim fit man. Here's the problem with the big baggy jeans is I was bullied about being fat. And it makes me look fat, so I just wear the skinny jeans. So I just look European. I want to be European.
I think that those make you look like I'm speaking for both of us because I'm also a slim fit daddy, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna look old, and also there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's way weirder to be like, hey, remember the pants I had in grade 8? I wear those again. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? I wear Echo again. I don't know.
I was being criticized by a guy for how I was dressing, and we were in a clothing store, and I pointed at him and said, you dress like a dock worker who's just been fired for not joining the mob, and the two different people who worked there, both women, laughed very hard in a way that I knew that man will now be angry at me for 6 months.
I'm right. But also, it's like, why do I have to be cool? I am a bald white guy.
Yeah, this is the thing, is I'm bald. I don't want to be cool.
Yeah,
I'm not going into those stores. All of your shoes look horrible. Oh, you know what shoes need to be? Chunky and weirdly shaped. Fuck off.
Also, I really like that it's like, what was it? Someone like, my wife was like, you should dress something about like, oh, your shoes, you need new shoes. She bought me Jordans. And then the next day I saw like the ultimate dad fit and it was like Jordans. You know what I mean? I'm like, all of the things that if you're around 40, if you like them, they're for fucking losers now. Let's just be losers and then we'll die alone.
Yeah. Someone was making fun of me for, oh, you're wearing a band t-shirt? And I was like, I've been wearing a band t-shirt for a long time, man. It's just that for a period of time, it got cool. I've not been cool. I've just been me. Thanks to Louis C.K.
I'm not cool.
Wearing
I'm
jeans
me.
and a t-shirt. Yeah, became cool for a bit. I've been listening. This sounds like it's just Brooks, and I'm done. I'm done with that sentence.
I'm not cool.
Attention,
I'm
anyone?
me. Pardon me. There's a man outside of my hotel room to start bullying me again. He said, "I heard you say a platitude from a VHS grade 3 about bullying. I'm sorry. I have to stuff used underwear in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? You explained yourself, and communication's key, friend.
It is nice. I'll close on this.
Thank you. Close on this. Speak on this.
It is nice to see a guy. I shouldn't say nice. It reminds you things don't change that much to see a guy in a mullet, say a slur, and then get into a pickup truck and be like, that's a country music artist.
That's correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, I can't believe this is the way this man's behaving. And I've said this analogy before, and I'll say it again. Well, then you don't know anything about country music, guys. David Allan Coe tried to shoot the Freebirds at a professional wrestling event so he could steal one of their capes. Like, do not.
And he also, if you want to talk N-words, you look up David Allan Coe, baby.
Boy.
He's got whole albums.
Oh, boy.
Morgan Wallen said it once when he was hammered. David Allan Coe was like, let me wait till I'm sober to say it so people know I believe it.
Yeah. I was about to say that word that I love, but I've had too many beers, and I treat saying that word and driving very similar. You need to be sober, you need to be alert, and it needs to be daytime, preferably.
Yeah, I need to get the enunciation right so people know how full of hate I am. Anyway, John, we're done now. So sucky, waka ba ba boo.
Whoa!
That was good.
Whoa!
That was good.
Is that a new Morgan Wallen song? That was great.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen. Oh, I sucky on my own fucking dick.
Everyone comes to the farm to watch me suck on my
There you go.
penis.
I took a shit, stuck my dick in my mushy shit. Now I need to go to the hospital.
On Sunday, my dad would preach about love, and I would suck my own dick in the parking lot
Watch my dad
while he was
fuck
doing
my mom.
that.
That's what I like. Yippee yippee ya!
I caught my parents fuck, and then I sucked my own dick and said, I'm more of a
There you
man
go.
than you, daddy. And then dad, as a revenge, invented the step-sibling genre of pornography.
That's good. Stepdad. What about
Oh,
real
oh.
dad? That's the fucking put that in there.
Yeah.
Real dad fucks actual mailbox.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen's dad had a meeting with Brazzers, and he was like, how about we do real dad fucks daughter? And they're like, hey, we're Brazzers? That's creeping us out? How about stepdad? And he's like, as long as you take my name off of that fucking bastardized version of my idea.
All right, next week we'll talk about something else. But until then, keep fit and have fun.
Yeah, Brooks, and I'm done.